Dave Limp exiting from Amazon. So, and he was the leader of the devices group, and he had been there for 14 years. And pretty much everybody who is listening on here, I am sure, has used one of their products: a Kindle, Alexa, Echo. Now, he bought the Ring capability, but quite frankly, he made it a lot better. And I think I've single-handedly bought 50 Ring cameras in since its existence. So I'm a pretty big stakeholder here. Dave said in a blog post, it was time to go, quote unquote. No details. The only piece of detail he said is that he won't be doing it in consumer electronics, which was interesting because he's been in the CE space for over 30 years. He's an ex-Apple and an ex Palm guy. So I then looked to Andy Jassy and his statement to see if he could add some color on this, because quite frankly, you need to look at the Alexa business. This is not me talking to Andy Jassy, but the company needs to figure out, hey, do we measure this as a standalone profit driver? Do we look at this as a profile creator, right? To serve you better ads, to either buy their stuff or other people's stuff. So, for instance, if you're talking to it and I have video and pictures, it knows a lot about you, right? Um, is it a frictionless way to buy stuff? I know that my Alexa devices, particularly Echo devices, ask me nonstop, hey, do you want to buy something? Did you know you could buy something on this? Potentially, that was one of the big drivers, because if you look at the history of Amazon all the way to one-click shopping, and back in the early days when it started back in the 2000s, it actually late 90s, it was all about how fast the checkout process was. So this whole idea that you could tell your device to go buy stuff or create a list and then go do that. So and by the way, the final way I think needs to be up there is a future service expansion opportunity. But yeah, Andy didn't give a lot of insights about that. It wasn't, hey, we're gonna strategically relook at it. But he said, hey, I believe those businesses will add um, customer value, and he's excited and quite optimistic of what's being built. And when I talk about the new services, I like to look at it like this. So the home service opportunity, I think, for Amazon is pretty immense, right? And ADT only has a market cap of about $5 billion, but then again, they're only around 10% of the market. So let's say the security market is 10x that size, but I think it's bigger than home security, right? Think of robotic automation in the home, right? What's our nation's, I think, biggest spend issue that's out of control is healthcare. People keep getting sicker, diabetes. What elder care could a potential future Amazon robot provide to the U.S., in Japan, right, where they have more people dying than people being born? So um, that's that. But I want to end with, there's a lot of people leaving the executive staff under Andy Jassy, right? The worldwide consumer lead, Dave Clark, left. The media leader, Jeff Blackburn, left. Charlie Bell left. Alicia Bowler Davis left. And corporate affairs under Obama, who had been in here for a long time, Jay Carney left, right? So the chief communications person and communication strategist all gone. So I'm really interested to see if these moves as an Amazon that's going to go off the rails, right, with all of these senior leaders in here, or is this a scenario where Amazon did such a good job with culture and training and the Amazon way that was started under Jeff Bezos, that it almost doesn't matter who you plug into these roles. it's just going to keep moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's the latter with an asterisk. I mean, a company that's this big is always going to be, bigger than any one person, even any group of one people. There's, how many people that are clicking buy on Amazon knew who their chief communications officer was?
Right.
They don't. I mean, so Amazon's built something that's so much bigger than that. It's just like Andy was so imperative to AWS, but it's gone on under Adam. It just keeps going on. And because it's built an ecosystem, it's built a community, it's built a user base. Having said all that, I want to touch on devices, and then I'll touch on what you said about the corporate leadership. On the devices side, I think the devices is a data play, not a product play. I think the company has been able to utilize this to leverage and understand its consumer at a rate that's just exponentially greater than what Walmart or Target or any of these other companies will ever be able to understand a consumer and its behaviors. It's basically now become an integrated part of your home. They've done it at a very low price, been able to gather that data. Amazon has been endlessly investing in improving its supply chain and making delivery times shorter in terms of putting green trucks in the work. And it's always sort of been dilutive to the company's earnings on the e-commerce side. But that's kind of what you do when you got a golden goose, which is AWS. And it's always had the ability then to take its massive operating profits and enable to invest it in its future endeavors. That's the cycle. And that's why I think the breakup is probably pretty unlikely. Having said that, if they did break it up, e-commerce would be on a much more level playing field because it would have to invest very differently. But, you mentioned healthcare. I mean, look, Alexa and its ability to understand health, wellness, to be able to identify people's potential health issues and quickly document them. I mean, they're building for the future. The ability to, use a camera inside of your home to see that you're ill and be able to order you chicken soup, Tylenol, or to see that it's something more serious and to schedule you a telehealth visit. And this is where Amazon's going. And so Alexa has always been more of an enabler of that. It's a data play more than a product play. The things they've kind of tried to get into that are a little bit more traditional, the Fire Phone and stuff like that, kind of never stood a chance. It just never did. They did okay with the Kindle. That was the inroad, the digital book. And so that was as far as it went. Some of these robots things, to me, it's more about showing that we're an innovative technology company. And because you do 100-something billion a quarter, there's some projects, some testing, but it's always going to be about the data. I know
Can I ask you a question though?
What?
They've had this data for a decade.
Yep.
Are they going to just find some new way to do something with it? Do they need generative AI to take it? I mean, it's been out there forever.
I think they're already doing it.
We buy, they know what my face looks like. They know
but how have they grown every quarter? It's such a high rate. I mean, look at their revenue quarter to quarter to quarter to quarter. They're getting better and better and more prescriptive. It's freaking Miyagi judo mind tricks. It's not so obvious to you, but the point is you're going there and your ability to buy everything you need and getting it right. You know what I mean? It's happening faster and faster.
Yeah, all I'm saying, the layoffs though, Amazon Devices Group went down probably 50%.
No, 50. It's nothing more than a play.
It's so amazing. Why cut it? Why gut it?
I just think maybe the kind of data, the amount of data, and the amount it wants to focus on actually cutting edge versus just enabling the data. It's just my take. I mean, you have your take, I have mine. I'll tell you one other thing.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, I'm genuinely telling you.
I think ask questions on this show.
Oh, well, you're not allowed to challenge me. I'm always right. But in all seriousness, I think we're probably more in alignment than not. I just mean look, it's been a tough year. The street wants more profitability. They don't get enough benefit out of the cost. They don't need to be innovating in terms of the hardware product itself as much as you might think. What they need to be is getting more of these into more homes so they can get better data and get better insights to keep delivering more stuff to everybody's door. And then ultimately the kind of stuff, right? So it's not just, knickknacks. It becomes your electronics. It becomes your healthcare needs. It becomes your food and grocery. It becomes, and eventually it is, it can potentially be everything. And that, of course, will always put them in the limelight of everything from cool tech news to antitrust discussions. The only thing I'll say about the Andy and the team is anytime a new CEO comes, I give it 1 year to 2 years, and the whole executive teams tend to get washed out. This was a group of people that all wanted to be the next Jeff Bezos, and probably a lot of them thought maybe they were the person that should have been next in line. And when they realized it wasn't them, I can't think of a company, Pat, where this doesn't happen. When a new CEO comes in within a year or two, people figure out, am I part of the plan? Am I not part of the plan?
I don't know. Apple was pretty consistent.
Yeah, but it's Apple. I mean, are you even allowed to leave? I thought you were chained to your desk.
Google was pretty consistent.
I can't remember that.
No, it's a great conversation.
I can't proclaim that. I think it changes a lot. I can give you plenty of examples where it did change.
I think leaders. Oh, yeah. During times of struggles, 100%. Amazon has this 7-year, like if you're going to invest big, it doesn't pay back in 7 years, it's off, right? And that's kind of where I think we are. I don't know what off means. I think it could be significant reduction in investment. And by the way, we saw a huge reduction in investment from Google in the same space in all of their smart home stuff.